Und now we are live.
Oh my god. Um, Welcome to another scene for Asylum the Rebirth. Tonight we find ourselves out early in the evening, just after sunset, in Dr. Wilbrand's room. She is awoken by the sound of a letter being pushed under her door. Slides along the floor, and then the footsteps outside sort of fade.
She begins to move. She's still, actually, she's probably still taking in what it is like to awaken, since it is not anything like what it is awake during the morning when you're human. She is taking this in. She's, in general, enjoying this new physical reality, this new stasis that her body is now in. She does look, she's not, she normally sleeps in the nude, so she just gets up and picks up the letter and opens it.
Inside is a black key card. You've seen that Dr. Wicker has one similar.
Hmm.
And the note says, "Before you leave, there are secrets. I hope you find what you're looking for. S."
Hmm. He looks at it. She kind of just twiddles the key card between her fingers. Nods to herself. Finds some clothing. Begins to take it on and put it on and has she found like a doctor's coat and
Yeah, there's Doctor's coat. Wicker, Eleanor would have given you one if you asked for it. One of hers, even perhaps.
yeah. She feels a lot more
In
comfortable.
fact, it is one of hers. You can faintly smell her perfume
Hmm.
on the cut
This is this
on
is
the
a bonus.
collar.
This is a bonus that Marie is quite happy with. Yeah. She sets her hair as best she can. You know, make sure that she has things with her key card and everything else to make certain that, well, she looks as legit as possible.
Okay.
Is it just a normal envelope?
It's a normal envelope.
Hmm. Before I leave, there is secrets. First, Marie will just have a look at the basement.
The basement. Okay. You're gonna have to go down quite far. You're gonna have to go down to the hospital level,
Mm-hmm.
the mental ward level, and then so you can take the elevator down to the ward level, and then cross through, and then go through another elevator, like a service elevator, which takes you down to the basement.
Mm. Um. Well, actually, before that, where have I seen this keycard work? It has just been for like.
You've seen it work pretty much everywhere, with the exception of the outside gates and the main
Mm,
doors.
mm. She's gonna take the elevator, but she's gonna take it to the ward level, the
Okay.
where she met the others, and she's going to, you know, go for some rounds, and she is going to see how far she can get within the building.
You get down to the ward level. Everything seems usual. You've noticed from your time here things sort of pretty much one on clockwork. People get their pills at the same time. Some people you sort of observe that some people are more active at night than during the day. Some of the patients. There's different. You recognise some of the night staff, as opposed to the day staff. That seems to change quite like sort of on a pattern. The
Mm-hmm.
same people seem to do the same shifts. So you have night staff and day staff. Um, the women's there's 18 female patients on this ward, including your lovely friend, Mrs. Soham,
Hmm.
whose cursory glance notes that she's actually in her room. She is just sort of drawing. It seems people are milling about a bit. It's quite early in the night. Some people are watching TV. Some people are drawing. Some people are talking to the nurses.
Hmm. Um, her patient.
The men's ward's on the other side of these double doors. Two sets of double doors.
And Marie will have a look at that.
Okay. It's two sets of double doors.
Yeah, she will use her key card to get in.
They open.
And she's going to see if there is, well, when she leaves, is there any hint of any surveillance system or anywhere where that
Oh
might be?
yeah, just make there's I'm not gonna be hero because I can't be bothered. There's quite a lot of surveillance on in the wards. You know that.
Mm-hmm. But do I get any inkling of whether it's shared for the two buildings and like is collected somewhere specifically?
You know that there doesn't seem to be any cameras on the residence levels where you live. But down here, you can safely assume that there is somewhere a security office.
Marie's going to have a look for that.
Okay, where are you gonna look? Because right now you're in between two doors, between the two wards.
She's going to assume that it's either going to be in a building separate. So as long as she doesn't go in or go towards the outer wall, she is going to have a look and see if there is any place that people meet or people.
Both the wards, the men's and the women's ward, connect to a communal reception area.
The reception area is probably where she's going to start to look.
Okay. Yeah. So you entering the reception area from the women's ward or the men's ward?
From the men's ward.
Okay. You're gonna have to walk through the men's ward first.
Oh, she'll do that.
You get you get quite a bit of attention because the men here haven't seen you before. A few of them stand up, watch you. One of them wolf whistles. The male nurse behind the desk says, I'm sorry, can I help you?
No, it's quite all right. Just heading through. I'm new.
Oh, okay. What's your name?
Dr. Jensen.
Dr. Jensen.
Yeah.
He picks up the phone, presses a button.
Before that, she's just gonna say, I may not be on the. I'm normally at the women's ward. I'm simply just walking through to the other pass, but I don't No. Maybe I am. Maybe I've made a mistake. Maybe I'm not authorized to be here. I don't think you would.
Normally we don't have female doctors allowed in this ward. You can hear the men. There's a couple of men getting closer, and they go, "Oh, hi, I'm Alf. How are you?"
She ignores him.
The orderly looks a bit more flustered.
I will leave if that is a problem.
He nods, puts down the phone.
Well, that was my intention. I'm sorry to have inconvenienced you. She smiles, and will hurry through.
Oh, where are you going, Doc? I wanted to talk. Sort of similar jeers.
Mm-hmm.
So you go back through to the women's ward.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really get hassled here. No one seems to pay much attention to you. You can swipe the card if you want to.
Oh, she will.
So you go through. It's the room that is quite a big. Imagine sort of like a hospital. Like the reception you'd have in like a ER or that sort of thing. It's like waiting areas with seats, and then like a long reception desk, and then the two really heavy industrial electronic doors that lead to the outside. And there's a desk and a computer and files and stuff. File cabinets. There's no one on reception because people don't get admitted at night, usually.
Are there any staff here?
No.
But there is surveillance, I'm guessing.
Yep. There's security cameras. You hear one go slightly as you move. Obviously, motion activated.
Yeah. Marie will just, have a look around. She won't peer into any of the filing cabinets, not when she's being videotaped.
Um, it's not very exciting, to be perfectly honest. There's a computer with a login screen that's on.
But
It's a
like,
small
are
little
there any
staff.
other rooms?
No, a small little staff room. But it's not particularly exciting. It actually looks like someone's been rifling through here recently. One of the cabinets on the desk has been jimmied open.
Marie gives a small thought to her brother. And just looks around. She's
You hear as you're looking around, you hear the doors from the women's ward open, and you see a tall, attractive, black man. Um, you've seen him around, mostly in the yard. He's got like a bald head and quite a neatly trimmed beard. He's wearing a security uniform. And he comes in and he goes, "Oh, Dr. Wilbrand, how are you?"
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Looking for something?
I don't think we've been properly introduced.
He walks over. He's got a gun. It's strapped to his waist and a radio on the other side. He doesn't seem to be. His body language is neutral, friendly. He reaches out his hand. He says, I'm TJ." He's a big guy, like easily 6'7", 6'8". But he doesn't seem. His demeanor is relaxed. He doesn't seem intimidating.
As you know, I'm quite new.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're real new. So
Do I
what?
have any indication of whether or not he knows stuff?
No.
Mm. So, I mean, how long have you been here? I mean, lots of these things must be routine for you by now.
I transferred from Boston about I don't know about 6 years ago. My dad got me the job. It's all right. It's a living.
Hmm. Well, see that I am looking for something. I'm the surveillance of some of the patients. There are a couple of them. It's strange. It's nothing major. I simply just wish to see if there is any indications that they are what their
So
behavior is like when they're not being observed or think they're not being observed.
you sure you don't want to just have a spy cam into Dr. Wicker's room? He grins.
She doesn't frown. She just kind of perks up and just says, "I'm sorry."
Well, word on the street is that you're her latest project. The person she's banging.
And what if I am?
That's fine by me. I don't really give a shit. If you want the security office, it's not down here. It's out in the yard.
Oh, okay.
Come on, I'll show you around.
Thanks.
He walks with you.
And yes, I can confirm that is indeed the case. But why would I need a spy cam? It's my
Oh
question.
well, you know, you're not the first. I'm sure you won't be the last.
She is an intriguing woman.
Well, she's not really my cup of tea Friday, but if you like that sort of thing, yeah.
So, what is your cup of tea?
Well, I'm not allowed to bang anyone in here. I work here. So. Gotta go back to the mainland for that.
How long are
My,
your shifts? Just out of curiosity.
I work all night, girl.
Oh, yes, but I'm assuming you don't go home every day.
No, sometimes my grandma, she has me over on the mainland.
Ah,
Stay for a few days. It's not too bad. She's she's a bit crazy, but you know that's family for you. I'm sure you know.
I do. Just for reference, uh, Dr. Milbrand probably doesn't know. He never paid that much attention to her family to begin with, so. But yeah, she follows him and just has a look out of him. Like, this guy is trained, right? This guy is looks like security personnel.
He looks like he could be very 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 handy. He's got the build of someone that's either a professional bouncer or an ex-marine, or you know, he's got a very strong. He's tall and he's got this kind of like super super strong build, like a heavyweight build.
Hmm.
I was going to ask you to roll something. Can we just roll it in dice in the desk and misc and pretend that we're not doing it?
Do what? I don't know what you're talking about.
Make a roll.
I don't know. Like, I'm not rolling anything in. What roll is that?
Wait a minute, I need to find the chat now. Dice roll a whisk. Make a perception alertness roll.
Perception, alertness. That is not that many dice. I have 2 successes.
As he turns to the side, you can see the what looks like a tattoo on his neck. It looks like an upside down A in a circle. And you notice that he's not breathing.
Hmm. Just before, after, like,
I mean, you're a doctor. You know what people look like when they breathe.
yeah. She just said, "Oh, I wasn't aware. I'm sorry." TJ, you are one of us, I suppose.
The royal lass. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Sorry, I am, as I said, very new, and I
I'm not one of
needed to be
you.
certain.
I'm not one of you. So, but us is in like the colloquial us. Yeah. Do you think I'd, come around and chat and let people wander around just on the regular? He leads you outside into the yard, which is completely empty at this point. Because people aren't allowed into the yard at night.
Hmm.
Lights a cigarette. Make an intelligence K-Night law roll.
Intelligence. Net law. I have one success.
He's a bruiser.
Yeah. Now,
I mean,
yeah.
the symbol on his neck is the symbol for Clan Bruiser. It's the Bruiser anti-tribute symbol.
Hmm.
But the tattoo. But you'd only really know that if you have K-Night law, which you do. You've been briefed on the clans.
Hmm.
He unlocks a gate with his own key. It's not, instead of being an electronic key, it's like a big hefty sort of physical key. Leads you through up some steps, up into one of the. There's like 4 towers.
Mm-hmm.
In the back of the. It's like a concrete block, like a prison tower, really. He leads you up, and when you walk in, you see that there's loads of security cameras. There's two chairs, a laptop, loads of security cameras, and just like a coffee mug and stuff.
Hmm.
Pack of cigarettes. He's still smoking.
So, if you are here, and we seem to have free reign, what exactly is required for us to take over more than just what we have now?
Well, we need to decide what we're going to do with all the people in there. I mean, if this place is going to go, they want the men upstairs. They want this whole place to be all Sabat. So we got to decide whether we're going to kill him, ghoul him, embrace him. It's not really my choice. It's not my thing. Like I just, I man the cameras and I make sure people don't go too batshit. But we've got to decide what we're going to do with the herd. Get rid of a few of the doctors and stuff and nurses that may twig what's going on. Some of them are controllable, some of them aren't. The outside of these gates, it's a whole island. I mean, people live here. You know, the staff, they live on the island. There's cottages and stuff.
Ah.
It's, it's like a whole community thing. There's a pub. Oh, sorry, like, what do you call it? A bar. He's got like a London accent, I suppose.
So, it's really the surrounding areas as much.
Yeah, I mean, the gangrel, they live in the woods and they're sort of on our side, but not. Um, Basically, we just need to make sure that, like, everybody here is under our control. Get some reinforcements. I mean, that's really for the higher ups to decide. I mean, me and you were just shit eaters here, Like, no offense, but I if you're sucking on mother's teats still, I'm guessing that you haven't even done the Voldery yet.
Has she heard of that?
Yeah.
Then she
That's
will.
the Batlore one.
Yeah, okay. Then she will say, no, I haven't.
He's probably going to have to wait for that. Everyone needs to be in packs and stuff.
Well.
Like, people like the governors, people that have been around for a while, they don't do anything fast. They do things on their own sort of slow time scale. They'll probably be here for another 50 years before they decide to do fuck all. But what I hear from the mainland is that we haven't really got that much time. Like,
Very well.
we've got problems back on the mainland that need sorting out. We need to stop having a little holiday here and really get on with it.
Do you have who has the best idea of who needs to be controlled within this facility before we can move on with the plans? I'm assuming there must be a list of nurses who needs to be.
I mean,
executed.
you're tapping Wicker. Why don't you ask her husband?
Or your husband?
Yeah. I mean, he's usually got a pretty good idea of what's going on here. He's been here longer than most people have. I think he's
The
been here since.
professor with the same name.
Yeah. Yeah, the doc.
Hmm.
I mean, I think he's been here since about 1920, so if anyone knows the layout, it'll probably be him, if he's willing to talk to you. Stuck up old bastard.
Hmm.
Don't worry, he's not tapping his wife.
Well,
They don't have that kind of relationship.
I see. Just merely curious. Well, if we know if we know the last doctors and kill those who cannot be persuaded to cooperate with us, I believe that will be the first step completed. Other than that, I'm assuming with you here that the surveillance system will not be used against us. It will be controlled by us at all times.
Yeah, I mean,
Good.
there's a couple of other guards that aren't. I mean, most of the other guards are herd, so they're either going to have to be killed or have their memories wiped. They're nice guys. I really don't want to kill them.
Well, it's not really my concern. My concern is if we use some of the smaller compartments, small cells to drag people in and finish them, if need be, then it's not a compromising situation, since we have access to the security system.
That's true.
That was all I was implying.
Uh-huh.
Well, thank you for the rundown.
No problem.
I'm assuming that you will be here most nights?
Yeah, pretty much. There's not much else to do on this place.
Very well.
He puts the coffee mug in the microwave. You can see that it's blood. He buzzes it for a few seconds and he just sort of drinks it like as if it's a hot chocolate or a cup of tea.
You microwave blood.
Oh, I like it warm.
Doesn't it sour the fullness of it?
Oh, a bit of sugar, you're fine.
She just kind of raises an eyebrow at that.
It smells disgusting, and it seems disgusting to you.
She will just say, well, I hope to see more of you in the future. I'm sorry, are you in a pack with anyone?
Yeah.
With
Well, my pack's on the mainland.
ah, I see. Wow, it was nice speaking.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you. He leans back in his chair, puts his feet up on the desk.
Hmm.
Oh, Lord. Alf's at it again.
And Dr. Willenbrand will return, and now she will begin to the place she met the doctor before. That was the basement, right? The medical ward.
You mean the professor? Which
Yeah.
doctor are you talking about? The
Uh,
medical.
the other, like the Tremere.
Yeah. He usually is in the medical ward.
Then that is where she will go next.
All right. It's dark, sort of like hospital lit. You know where his office is. You've been there for your physical exams.
Hmm.
So what are you gonna do?
She's going to knock.
It doesn't seem to be an answer for few moments, and then the voice is, "Enter."
And Marie will enter.
You see Professor Wicker. He's sat behind the desk. He's got notes. He doesn't look up at you when you come in. He's sort of continues scribbling.
And well, she will just approach slowly, and she'll just say, "Doctor."
He looks up at you over his glasses. And what is it I can do for you? I take it it's not a medical emergency.
It might be in the near future. Not for me, however.
He leans back in his chair slightly, putting down his quill. You'll find, Dr. Wilbrand, that unlike your sire, I have very little time for cryptic words. What is it you want?
You know more about this place than most others. There is a certain amount of the personnel in this place that I am led to believe are not malleable to us, meaning that they need to be eliminated. I need to compile that list and set a plan in motion to eliminate these people as fast as possible. I think you would be one of the best people to compile such a list. I noticed your professionalism, and you're probably a good judge of character.
He stands up. Looks you up and down. Not even of the blood properly yet, and you're already making plans for this place. What are you proposing to do with all the people once you have their details and their records?
Well, mostly the doctors will have knowledge that might be important. Their files will lead me to see if there is anything we can do to extort them, or make them more malleable. To make two groups, one group of people that can be safely eliminated without being a loss to us, and one that can be, well, perhaps molded or in other ways made to help us.
I suppose Ellen will put you up to this. She's testing you.
As a matter of fact, this was my own idea, in fact. She did stress for me to find a solution, begin to find a strategy for going forward. This is one part of my strategy.
I will give you the employee file if you promise me that there'll be no mess for me to clean up. I quite often have to deal with a mess from floor 6, which I'm bored of dealing with after 90 years. Keep your mess to a minimum, and we have an arrangement.
I'm assuming that this place has an incinerator.
It does.
Can I, well, use that?
You can. But bear in mind, some of these people have families, and families come looking for people that disappear. It's not quite as simple as just waving your little hand and things disappearing. You've got to be careful. Clever
They
to
will
survive in this
come
world.
seeking answers if there is no medical explanation. If there is a medical explanation, heart attack, accident, many kinds.
And
If
30
there
heart
is
attacks in 1 week in one place?
one heart attack, one accident, one clot, and
Bear in mind,
thrombosis.
Dr. Wilbrand, that we need to keep this place open and functioning as a building. If the FDA or the American Psychologists Association come poking around on means of practice, they will poke around the entire building.
Like I said, I don't intend to have everyone drop dead. I intend to find out who is more malleable, therefore more open to manipulation than others. Those with families will probably be more persuaded if the safety of their families are in jeopardy. So no, I would not kill them. I would see them as a lot more easy to control.
He eyes you. His eyes are small and beady and blue. And he walks over to one of the file cabinets. It's old fashioned. Nothing about this room is electronic. He puts his key in and opens it up and then hands you a thick file. There you are.
Thank you, Doctor.
If you see my wife, which I'm sure you will, tell her that she's been late 3 times this week for an appointed meeting.
I will let her know.
He nods. Goes back down, sitting at the desk. Puts his glasses back on properly and carries on writing. Doesn't say goodbye to you.
Dr. Villebrand herself just turns around, walks out. doesn't seem to expect a goodbye, really. And,
You figure that he tolerated seeing you, which is probably as much as you're probably going to get from him.
oh yeah. Yeah. The good doctor will go for a quick sightseeing tour of the rest of the basement. That is not the medical. Well, it's the medical ward, but
Glass, standard medical ward. Nothing exciting, really. It's all clean and clinical and everything you'd expect.
Hmm.
All the surgical instruments are locked up elsewhere. Everything's sort of tip top. What sort of impressively clean, sterile, orderly. It's a very small medical bay. It's not a full hospital. It has all the equipment for pretty much everything that could happen.
Hmm. She'll take note of just general layout. She'll go back to her room, make sure that the file is safely in her own room. As she sits there, and she's about to begin to read the documents and stuff, you'll just look down at her pants, trousers, and just think of the message that was left to her. Before you leave, there are secrets. That must be found. That must be what was it?
Before you leave, there are secrets that must be uncovered. A knock on the door. That's my
Murray
bad
gets,
knocking impression.
yeah, Murray gets up. Yes?
Really? You hear
Is it?
Eleanor's sort of raspy tone from
She
behind the door.
will get up and almost jump over to open the door.
She's standing there in her nightdress and holding two glasses of blood. You've had a productive evening. She eyes the folder, eyes you in the coat.
Well, not as productive as I'd hoped. I was a little disappointed to see that the security system might not be as big a problem. Well, it's one less thing for us to do, but that has been ordered now, since we're in control of that.
You're disappointed that it's not a problem.
Well, I was disappointed that I didn't know before, making it putting off that it might have been a problem when it was indeed, which I could have asked about, but regardless.
If I told you everything, it wouldn't be very interesting for you, would it?
I suppose not. But we will not be hassled by the cameras. That's good to know. And now I'm looking into whether or not, well, what members of the medical staff here will be, if not helpful to our cause, be persuaded in one way or another to help us.
She sits down in a chair near your bed and puts one of the glasses on your bedside table.
I spoke to your husband. He said that you have been late for the third time.
She rolls her eyes.
He asked that I tell you so.
He insists on weekly dinner meetings. An archaic tradition that I have very little interest in but for the sake of the sanctity of marriage.
Have you been married since before?
I married him when I was 19.
I see. And since you are not of the same clan, it's not my business. I apologize.
Oh, you're curious. No, he was already of the blood. I was not. We had
Ah,
a. I was his second marriage, and it was a war. It was to do with money, as many marriages were in those days. He was a good. Well, he is a good husband. He never asked questions about my past. He looked after me, still does, and he never forced himself upon me, which is more than I could say for many of the men that I've met in my mortal life.
I'm assuming that was a lot more prolific problem back in the day.
Oh, it's still a problem, my dear.
More of a problem. But I take your point. Um, she just looks at the files and just says, I'm assuming we would be able to, well, the people stationed here, we would be able to have some sort of threat posed on their families. If so, they will be pretty, well, ready to work with us, I'm assuming.
It's one way of doing it. I would feel it out a little bit before you go taking
Of
people
course.
hostage.
Of course. Who knows? You might be able to slip someone's drink.
She smiles, taking a sip from her drink.
So,
I see that you've been taking the lead.
well, yes, I have. I'm good at it,
You are.
and no one else seemed to. Well, no one else seemed to, period. So I went for it. And she just seemed to, like, she is looking over at her and just sips her drink, and she seems to be distracted, but she does seem to take some notes in her notebook and just cross out one thing in the notebook.
Eleanor's looking at you in that kind of way that's sort of contented, a bit like a cat. She's still watching you, but she's slightly amused, I suppose.
So,
So,
well, I'm assuming that we need to change our plans a little, since it's not only taking control over this facility, but the island itself.
yeah, I mean, I was waiting for. We're all gonna have to do some things first. Your little pack needs to form. These things don't happen overnight.
I heard the term shovelhead before. You spoke a little bit of it, but not an endearing term, I think, but what exactly does this entail?
Precisely what happened to you. You kill, and then it's a ritual that can only be performed by a priest, such as myself. You kill, and then you bury your subjects in a mass grave, and You imbibe the blood to soak into the ground, and they are awoken. It's a hasty way of making several Canaanites at once.
And I'm assuming they are as hungry as I was when I woke.
Usually.
So, if we find many people in this place that serves really no purpose that we need to dissuade or dispose of, would it be possible for us to embrace some of them and then set them loose on the populace?
The embrace is a gift. It isn't something to be thrown away. It is possible to do this for war, but before you do that, it's a ritual. It's not something you can just learn overnight.
I apologize if I have caused offense.
You haven't. You're young and you're eager to please me, I think.
She kind of smiles a little and just turns her head a little bit. And she just says, well, do we know what the population in general of the island is?
Mostly just people that work here and sometimes their families. Sometimes people that are retired that used to work here. This hospital's been here 150, 160 years.
Fair enough.
Don't worry your beautiful little head too much. Everything comes. Remember, we're immortal now, and everything comes with time. But I'm pleased you're taking initiative.
Well, I spoke with TJ.
Ah, yeah.
He said that there were rumblings on the, quote, mainland that we
Yeah.
might not have as much time as something.
Well, there are rumblings. But that's not something you need to worry about. That's something for me and the governess to worry about for now.
Very well.
TJ's worried because his pack's there.
He told me.
He's a strange one. Harmless. And despite many of my interested efforts when I was bored, he prefers men.
Ah. Well, maybe he hasn't met the right one. I must admit, She smiles again.
I
Doesn't
suppose
say.
there's no accounting for taste, really, is there?
It wasn't until too long ago I believed I was one who preferred men. But
Oh, you probably still do, darling. The blood is a very powerful thing.
I know.
And as Canaanites, we do not use the blood bond to control others. Soon, the Voldery will take place, and you may find your feelings change then toward me. Once the bond of blood no longer exists.
Well, my feelings might be different. I hope that I will not in any way. I hope that there will be no diminishment of the great gratitude I feel for you. You gave me this. I could have stayed here, or even if I hadn't been caught, I would have grown old, ugly, and died. But I won't now.
No. She stands up and puts her drink down. She comes over and puts both of her hands on your face. Now you will be perfect forever.
More than that, I don't have to be afraid. I don't have to be afraid of being found out at the police. Someone suspects something. None of that.
No.
Thank you.
She smiles. Well, I suppose our nightcap is done. I should leave you to your study.
I suppose I can squeeze in a little. She looks over at the bed.
Eleanor reaches over and presses the button that flicks off the light. And that will be the moment that we end the scene. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. Until next time.